Welcome to the show tonight. If we're meeting for the first time, my name's Ken Edmonds, and I have the channel Traveling with a Chair. We talk about travel in a lot of ways, a lot of focus on cruising. For those of you that are new, if you haven't subscribed, I'd encourage you to do so. I have a tremendous amount of information that's coming, both about cruising and traveling in general. And what I do on this channel is I try to help people enjoy the most vacation at the lowest possible expense. I don't sell travel, I just talk about travel. And I think you'll find it very enjoyable. Today we're going to talk about Norwegian Cruise Line's private island, Harvest Caye. This is their newest private island. It's in Belize, and it's a common cruise stop now for Norwegian ships when they do Western Caribbean itineraries. And I see quite a few questions in some of the media and some of the forums around about Harvest Caye and asking what's different between it and, for example, and Great Stirrup Cay in the Bahamas. And while there are some things that are very similar, there are some very significant differences when we talk about Harvest Caye. One of the big differences is the fact that on Harvest Caye, all of the food that you get is you have to pay for. There is no free food on Harvest Caye, whereas on Great Stirrup Cay, they set up barbecues and they have free food available. Also, if you have a drink package on the ship, it does not work on Harvest Caye as well. So you have to pay for all your food and beverage on the island. That's one of the things that's very different from Great Stirrup Cay. Now, the reason for that, and there were some questions I saw earlier about it, the reason for that is that most of the establishments on the island are not owned by NCL. They're actually owned by people from Belize, and so they're trying to make sure that as much money as possible goes back to the Belizean economy rather than going into the coffers of Norwegian Cruise Lines, which I think was a good choice. By the way, for those of you that are watching this on the replay, I will be watching and answering questions and responding to comments. For those that are live, if you would go ahead and hit the like button. That way I know you can hear me fine. And if you have questions as I'm going, don't hesitate to go ahead and post them. I'm going to pop up a map now actually, I'm going to pop it up full screen here and make that comment, get out of the way. This is an aerial view of Harvest Caye. You can see that the ships do dock, and then there's a walkway that goes out to the ship. Well, they did some nice things. There's some misters, and it's covered so that it's not uncomfortably hot traveling to and from. They also have a shuttle that runs back and forth. My wife and I, she uses a wheelchair when we travel. I just pushed her. It was easy walk, nice and level, very, very pleasant journey over. Now, the day we were there, it was kind of cool, so we didn't get in the water, but I'm going to give you just a quick discussion of what's available there. Again, trying to answer some of the common questions that I see. One of the things that what you'll find is that when you first come in, there's a shopping area. And again, like I said, the shops in that area, they're all owned by Belizeans. And so and I thought the pricing was as good as you'll find in most places for souvenirs. Now, my wife and I didn't buy anything. We're at the stage of our life where we're decluttering, not adding clutter to our home. So we're not big collectors of knickknacks when we're on a cruise ship. But they had a variety of things from carved woodenware. T-shirts were very prevalent. They had swimsuits. They had some silver and some jade types of things. So there was some jewelry. And again, we thought in general everything was fairly priced, so we enjoyed it. When you come in, if you go off to the right, you'll find a big pool area. Again, one of the things that's different with Harvest Caye is you can't use your ship card to charge anything, except there are some lockers by the pool, and that's the only thing you can use is the your ship's card to run a locker. And it's kind of strange that that's the only thing your ship's card's good for, and that's the only thing that's good there is your ship's card. Everything else you'll need a credit card or cash for. Anyway, there's some cabanas you can rent around the outside of the pool. It's a huge pool. I want to say it's 17,000 square feet. Right here by Landshark Grill, you can see where the pointer is. They've got a, oh, except I'm the wrong screen with my pointer there. They've got a swim up bar, so you can swim up and get a drink sitting there in the pool. There's another bar and restaurant here on the other end of the other side of the pool. And then farther down below the what you can see on the screen, there's also a couple of other restaurants and bars. I thought the food was a little on the pricey side. It's not, I didn't see anything that I thought was a great bargain on the, as far as on the island. There was one place with the shops that had like some very small items, burritos and things. They weren't too bad, but everything else they were pretty proud of. You'll have to excuse my throat. I've been fighting some bronchitis. There are a ton of beach loungers. I don't think there's any of the ships in the NCL's fleet that would fill up all the loungers between the pool area and along the beach. Some of the ones along the beach are shaded by palm trees. There's also clamshells for rent at the back. I think when we were there, they were $29. Farther along the island, again in the area that you can't see in this picture, there are some beach villas that you can rent. They're $5.99. They'll hold up to 6 people, and they come with some nice amenities. They have kind of a private area of the beach as well. One thing to be aware of is that this is not sand on the beach. It's crushed coral. And because of that, you're going to want water shoes if you're walking around. I saw several comments from people about how rough it was and how uncomfortable on the feet. So you'll want water shoes if you're going in the water and walking along the beach. There are some beach volleyball nets set up. So if you're into beach volleyball, easy for me to say, there are some places that you can do that. One of the things that I have to comment on is that, and because my wife uses a wheelchair when we travel, it was nice to see that all of this island was pretty much accessible. There's a boardwalk that ran down at least to the private area, so that you were on the boardwalk there, and then most of the rest of the area is paved. Now, I did see a lady try to drive her scooter out across the pseudo sand, and she wound up getting her scooter stuck pretty badly. We had to go out and help her get it out. So I wouldn't take a wheelchair or a scooter off onto the sand. Now, if you're wanting to go in the water and you need some help doing that, at this facility, I think it's this one right here where the pointer is, they have beach wheelchairs available. And the one thing that's really nice is they're free. All you have to do is give them your room key for the ship, and then you can use a wheelchair. Now I want to say there was maybe 8 or 9 of them there when we went by, but they do have a place you can store your wheelchair so that it's safe while you go use the beach wheelchair to get down across the sand and into the water. This lighthouse here, they have a zip line that goes across to a landing area on the far side of the bay. It looked like a lot of fun. It's not something I tried. It is available through the excursions on the island. There's a total of about 22 excursions on the island. Let me rephrase that you can book through Norwegian. They're not all on the island because they do diving. They do some tours to the mainland, some ruin tours. There are no local vendors that are available on the island that do tours that I am aware of. But if you take the ferry that runs to Placencia, to Placencia, then you can find shore excursions and tours over there as well. They use a wristband method when you get your ticket to go over. They'll assign you a time coming back. If you have something scheduled, they'll base your return time on that. Elsewise, I think it's either 3 or 4 hours after you leave. And if you try to come back at a different time, you have to wait till all the people that have the right wristband get on board on the ferry. And then if there's any empty space, they take other people. There is a nature area right in here. They have some toucans. They have some macaws, and they're actually starting a breeding program for these macaws because they're endangered. There's not many of them left, so they're going to try to breed some here on the island so that they can be released back into the wild. They have a butterfly house. Now, when we were there in January, most of the butterflies were still in the cocoon stage, but it's a very unusual blue butterfly, and I think it would be amazing if you're there when they're hatched out. This area right here, this lagoon, is where their water sports. They have a stand-up paddle boards and kayaks and pedal boats and a variety of small odds and ends that you can use in this lagoon. And they have a rope there to in theory, keep you from going outside of the lagoon with the craft that you're renting. The rental prices aren't bad. Again, we didn't do it, but the rental prices I didn't think were bad. All of the tours depart from over here. So anything that you've booked in the way of an NCL excursion, they'll depart right here. And you can book once you're on the island as well. I saw, them advertising vacancies on a variety of tours. So they're not fully booked. You can book on shore as well. We thought, excuse me, just one second there. Wanted to bring me back up. My wife and I enjoyed our day there. Like I said, it was cool, and we're not huge beach people anyway, but we enjoyed walking around and looking at the shops and looking what the people had to sell and all the different things there. We enjoyed and one thing I forgot to mention is all of this island is landscaped, is just gorgeous. We enjoyed our time on the island. We were back on the ship in the early afternoon for lunch, and that was the end of our day. Had it been warmer, we probably would have used a beach wheelchair and gone down to the water and played in the water some. But like I said, in January, there was a storm that had pushed way south. In fact, we had for January, a rougher than usual cruise and a lot more rain and cool weather than you would normally expect in the Caribbean for that time of year. But it was a lot warmer there than it was in the States. I can say that for a fact. Anyway, thanks for watching. We're going to have a really special show. The information's already posted on my YouTube channel, but we have Stuart St. Paul is going to be on the show. It's a special time on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. And he is a noted actor, a director. He's also a admin on on one of the Facebook cruise groups. The title of it's Cruising's Not Just for Old People. And so he's got a lot of experience. He's written some guidebooks. He's also written a couple of books about mysteries based on cruise ships. So he's going to be on Saturday morning. If you have any questions for him, I do have links to his bio and to his website. So if you have any questions you'd like to get posted to him, you can go ahead and post them in the comments now, and we'll try to get them worked into the show. I'm really looking forward to it. I think he's going to be an amazing guest. He's also been a guest lecturer on cruise ships, so I think he's going to have a lot of interesting things to say. I appreciate everybody being here. The links, I'll link to my videos of Harvest Caye because I do have some video of it. I'll link those in the bio or in the comments down below, and we'll see you next time.